Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us here again for West Central Women's Resource Center's Reconciliation Month. I'm really honored today to have MP for Winnipeg Centre, Leah Gazan, here with us today, and we're going to talk a little bit about her private members bill. For those who don't know me, my name is Lori English, and I am the Executive Director here at the Centre, and I'll give Leah a chance to introduce herself a little bit.
Well, thank you so much, Lori, and I'm just really honored to be here, and I want to commend the work of West Central Women's Resource Centre on advancing the discussion in support of reconciliation. I know that your center has done a lot of work, and I feel really privileged to be one of your guests here today. I am, like you said, the member of Parliament for Winnipeg Centre, and I've spent my life fighting for human rights. And part of the reason why I put this bill forward is to ensure that we transition into a just society and address the climate emergency in a manner that honors and respects the fundamental human rights of Indigenous peoples as articulated in the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. So I'm really excited to be here today to talk a little bit about my bill.
That's great. Thanks so much for joining us. And as a first-year MP, first-time MP, you were given an opportunity pretty quickly to put forward a private member's bill. And I feel like you knew pretty early what it was going to be on. And so you introduced Bill C-232, the Climate Emergency Action Bill. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what that bill's calling on the federal government to do?
Well, part of this bill grew out of just what I heard during the election. Certainly, many of the reasons why people elected me was because of my longtime involvement in the climate justice movement, but also as a human rights advocate. With the last several years of fighting for the full adoption and implementation of the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples into Canadian legislation. And so this bill is kind of a combination of both. So the purpose of Bill C-262 actually is to ensure that Canada takes all measures necessary to meet our international climate targets and greenhouse gas emissions commitments, while at the same time, fully complying with the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, which is an act respecting a climate emergency action framework.
Mm-hmm. And why do you think it's so important? I mean, we're facing lots of climate justice challenges, but why is it important for this bill to come forward right now?
Well, it's important to know, like, part of the bill is a recognition of for all Canadians to a safe, clean, healthy environment as a human right. There are over 100 countries around the world that have recognized a safe, clean, healthy environment as a human right. Canada is yet to do so. We're actually behind on that. We are currently in a climate emergency. What we do now matters. I feel like we're running out of time to ensure that we do have a clean, safe, healthy environment to live in. And I think we need to take bold legislative measures to ensure that's a reality.
So if Canada was to go forward and adopt your bill, I know it's early stages still, but do you think this helps us take steps towards reconciliation?
Well, 100%. Like within the development of the National Climate Action Framework, it will be completed in consultation with Indigenous people and civil society, and it ensures that Canada meets commitments to climate targets that have been set by 2030. Currently, the government is talking about 2050. I'm saying that's too late. We need to stay true to our promise and meet our climate targets by 2030 to ensure a just transition into a green economy that brings workers along. Within the framework of the bill, very much like was articulated in the TRC calls to action, which indicated or which stated 16 times, mentioned as the framework for reconciliation, the framework. 43 and 44 speaking specifically to government and the federal government. The framework being the United Nations, or honoring and respecting the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. This bill also aims to ensure that all measures that are taken uphold and are consistent with the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, as well as taking into account science, including Indigenous science and knowledge, uh, in fulfillment of our obligations that we have towards future generations. So, as I indicated in the beginning, much of my work has been around advancing human rights in the last few years, focused on seeing the full adoption and implementation of the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. And this bill is in conjunction with ensuring that all Canadians are afforded a safe, clean, healthy environment as a human right.
Yeah, it's so important. I think we're really seeing, in the light of COVID-19, even the importance of coming together around a healthy and clean environment for everyone.
Yeah, because I mean, we know, Lori, the impacts of the pandemic are worsened by the climate emergency and
Mhm.
by disasters that are caused by the impacts of climate change. It just exacerbates the impacts of the pandemic. We are running out of time, and what we do matters now. And I'm hoping people get behind this bill,
Mhm.
Bill C-232. We're launching a campaign soon. We're just getting it off the ground. We did have a press conference, and then we were hit by the pandemic. But we are launching a campaign for the bill. I'm hoping people come out and volunteer. The only way we will get this bill through as a private member's bill is if we join together as a community and send a very clear message that we, at this juncture, it is critical that all Canadians are afforded with a safe, clean, healthy, and clean environment as a human right.
Mhm.
Uh, in respect of fundamental human rights that are articulated as well in the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, and in respect of international commitments that Canada has made to meeting climate targets and reducing greenhouse gas emissions.
That's great. You've done a great job in engaging our community and particularly engaging young people in politics, but also in climate justice work. If more people want to join your movement, how do they get involved?
Well, please get a hold of our office. Certainly check out our website at leahgazan.ca. They can also call our office at 204-984-1675, or they can just stop by our office on Sargent. Members of Parliament are the easiest people to find. So if you look up Leah Gazan, you will know every place in the world to contact Gazan. So there you go.
That's great. Thanks so much for taking the time to meet with me today.
Oh, thanks so much, Lori. Always a pleasure. Keep doing the tremendous work that you always do for community. And I'm very honored to be here with you today.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.